6 watt actually, but we are using only 0.5
Hello, I'd like to welcome you to the Silvertone Room. Those of you who've been here before know every year we bring sort of a historic fragment of the history of cinema and audio, and a bunch of like much more modern things. I'm just going to give you a brief description of what you're listening to now. If you can imagine what was going on in 1930, right around this time, in the United States, it was the throes of the Great Depression. And if any of you know, like I do, when the going gets tough, the tough go to the movies. Unfortunately, in the movie theater business, the equipment, the demand for the equipment could not be supplied by the manufacturers because 60% of all factories closed in the United States. So Western Electric, who had just recently invented the talkie movie, and for which the entire world was screaming for more of, had this quandary of not being able to produce the sound system. So they did what any decent capitalist would do. They looked for subcontractors. So this horn right here was made by a subcontractor. It's Western Electric, but it's known officially as the Raycon horn. And Raycon was a small company that made parts for boats and other sort of things like that in New York City, which was far from California and Kansas City, which was where the main manufacturing was for Western Electric at that time. They made these out of paper mache. So these are actually made of paper pulp, canvas, and hide glue. They could be produced on molds in 5 sections and glued together and painted, and that's what this is. To my knowledge, this is the single most complete and original Raycon horn in existence. There's probably less than 20 of them surviving because water and paper mache are not the best of friends. These horns were similar to the Western Electric 15A, and they were installed exactly the same way. It's a 5x5 driver. This is a replica made by GIP. Mr. Suzuki and his people are over there if you're interested in more information about the replica. This is the Western Electric 22A, which is made of sheet metal. Sheet metal can be cut out with shears, bent the corners, and welded. So it's also a very inexpensive and fast way to produce horns. The driver on those are 91 years old. 1927 Western Electric 5x5 drivers. This whole entire system is from 1930. If you had been in a movie theater in 1930, you would have heard the system exactly as it is set up here. There's no crossover, there's no dividing network. There is a tweeter which is protected by a filter to keep low frequencies away from it. But other than that, what you hear is what you get. Powering them is a pair of amplifiers that is based on the 205C, which is from 1922. This is used in a modern circuit which has a hybrid. There's a sort of a composite amplifier. So those amplifiers actually, instead of making 1 watt, they make 20. But the amplifier next to it makes 8. And those are VT2s. That means vacuum tube number 2. And those are from 1917. Then we have phono in line, and then we have our remarkable turntablists, Frank Schroeder and Thomas Schick. They have lovely little disco systems over there. If you're interested in what they are working on, you're more than welcome to ask them. And we have a 1970s reel-to-reel playing all sorts of lovely tape things. So that is actually what we have brought with us. These speaker systems, and the speaker system in the middle is a kind of a replica composite made by GIP also. I haven't been here for the last hour, so they may have been played, I'm not entirely sure. But if you have any questions about